follow, and I bought his book. His name's Nick D. He's got a book called You Don't Want It Bad Enough. And his whole concept for growth is based on content, essentially. He's got no budget, spends basically no money on making content, just shoots really good videos and edits them in a way so that they're engaging for the audience. And he says in his book that he does not listen to anyone's music because that time can be used for him to be listening to beats or writing lyrics for him to produce more songs so he can put more out. And I get that, because if you're trying to grow and you want the best for yourself and you want to be in your own lane, if you're taking influences from outside, there's a chance that you might stray away from the sound that you have and you're kind of trying to create. So I completely get that as well, but I think it works both ways depending on the person.
Well, everything has to be inspired by something. You have to draw inspiration from somewhere. Listening to music and engaging in all sorts of media is a way of participating in society. You can't be inspired by a society you don't participate in.
I think you can, but probably not in the way that you should be inspired, if that makes sense.
Not really, it's literally impossible.
Let's say, for example, you have a news bulletin come out and it's nothing to do with your culture, but it says something like, a musician, first person to swim the English Channel, for example. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I'm now like inspired to start swimming because I've seen that person I've never met before or never heard of before in the newspaper who's not a swimmer turn around and just swim the English Channel. That might inspire me to be like, I can do anything. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm going to start swimming, or I'm going to maybe write a song about it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you directly have to be involved in the culture of something to be able to be inspired by it. I think you can be inspired by anything. It's just how you portray the message that you're inspired with.
Even then, it's not even necessarily on that big of a macro level. It's listening to different music saying, the way that snare sounds is interesting. Okay, that vocal style is interesting. Oh, he put a bridge here where I didn't expect him to. Small little tips and tricks that helps you figure a lot of these things out. So without participating in society, and even in a sense of going out and saying, okay, cool, what's literally in the world? Who do I bump into? What life experiences do I have? The idea of having an opinion on a world that you don't even interact with on a regular basis, it's kind of worthless. You have to be part of society to be inspired by it and contribute.
But there's some people that are part of communities and not, for example, society. You could be part of an online community that everybody in the community, let's say there's 300 people, are from completely different cities. So nobody's ever met each other, but they're still solid and strong. And
it's still a society.
Yeah.
It's just not one that necessarily exists on a physical plane.
Yeah, it technically is still a society, yeah. But it's not the same in a traditional sense. And I think because it's not the same, it doesn't carry the same weight, realistically.
It definitely does. The way we convene with each other, it just shifts. Society evolves in different ways. But it doesn't mean it's not a society. You can try and say that about generally how social media is and how Twitter is. We try to tell the lie of social media isn't real, but it is very much real.
Yeah, of course, it's extremely real.
It affects the plane of how we do all sorts of things. Like, even the way the entire music industry has shifted is because social media, in a way, is still very much real.
Yeah, I think every industry shifted because of social media. I don't think there's a single industry that hasn't been affected by it. So, and I think we're still going to keep having shifts regardless of the direction social media goes in or where AI goes or whatever the next new thing is. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be shifts and you just have to essentially adapt to whatever it is that's coming.
There is an element where are we a slave to how society will shift, or do we get to steer it? Because there's times in history where we have not just been like, okay, we're just going to adapt how society shifts. No, we straight up just steered it ourselves. Like we molded society into what we needed it and thought it should be.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think a lot of the time, majority of the time, we're following. I think this is the way that you're going to get from point A to B. You need to do this, and this. You need to live stream. You need to post 3, 4, 5 times a day. You need to have a paid community on Discord or Patreon. You need to do this, you need to do that. But then other times it could be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm now going to spend I don't know, my £1,000 budget on setting up a very small live performance and getting all of the content from that and showing people what real music is again and putting that content out slowly instead of trying to force live streams and trying to start a paid community and so on and so forth.
Even
And
then,
that can
like-
be impactful as well because it's not completely left field, but it might be left field from what is the current norm. Do you know what I mean?
Even then, sometimes we go back to old solutions. Like we got artists out that are going back to selling out the boot of the trunk.
Yeah.
Just going back to old because
Yeah.
sometimes old solutions work.
It's true. I saw one artist. She'd bought like a bunch of like iPod shuffles. I think.
Yeah.
They got the one like without the screen, right?
Yeah.
And she'd loaded her tape onto all of them, and then just went and stuck them with tape like around her city with headphones plugged into them. And said like, listen to it. If you like it, scan this code, pretty much. And like worked for her really well. Built a local scene. Everybody from the local area came to her show.
Yeah.
So like. There are different ways to do it.
It depends what you're trying to accomplish.
I think it definitely does depend on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to work on just getting your sound out there, or if you're trying to push a greater message, or if you're just trying to get people to a show, it really depends on the attributes you have as a person, what you stand for, and the direction you want to go in.
Are you fed up with A&Rs that don't want to do their jobs, to do any sort of artist development? Hire me, I'm cheap. Hi, I'm Ed Rants. So I'm launching a music consultancy business that's supposed to help you be able to build the artistic skills that your record label can't be asked to teach you, but wants to take 50% of your royalties off. I'm cheap. I'm only £30 an hour. Take a look on our website and our landing page and have a look on my calendar for what's available and see if I can help you. I feel like going on to your discography specifically.
Uh-oh.
Why you saying it like that?
Oh my god! Because I think it's
Why are you scared?
I'm not scared. I love my discography. It's just it's very abstract. Is the word I'd describe it as. So do you know what's really weird is I don't see it, right? But I remember speaking to an A&R who was from Birmingham. Her name's Anushka. Amazing girl, and. I was showing her my music and she was like, oh, I really like your older music. Like, obviously, the first couple of releases I had. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, it's all the same. We're talking about it all sounds the same. And I had to go back and listen to my music to like see how much development there has been of me as an artist. Like how different I actually sound as an
I would
artist.
say you're quite faithful to like drill adjacent sounds and have been.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that's what I started rapping on drill. So
Yeah.
that was like my first encounter really with music.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted to try and keep my sound somewhat consistent, and it was the easiest way for me to rap. And I think the way that I was going with my therapy and being able to get my thoughts out in a, I guess, non-self-harmful way was trying to just find fast beats and rap as fast as I could, because the faster I rapped, the less stress I felt about the situation I was in and my whole accident and stuff. So,
Interesting.
and that's why some of my songs are ridiculously fast, and people say that I rap fast, and like I'm working on my spacing. I think my spacing is much better than it was before. I still rap fast, but I just put spaces everywhere. But I like rapping fast. I think it
Yeah.
makes me feel better. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. I've never thought about it like that before.
It's like exerting energy. Do you know what I mean? If you go for a run.
Now that I think about it, yeah.
So,
But usually people exert energy with volume, but you choose to exert with, what would be the word for it?
velocity.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of it like that before.
Yeah, because I think volume, it just leads to burnout. Do you know what I mean? Most of the time it will lead to burnout. There is a way, but like, it's normally expensive. Do you know what I mean? But if you want to have a good amount of volume that's consistent, it's not really a good amount of volume by today's standards. Any good amount of volume by today's standards is expensive or at the cost of your health. It's one of the two. There's no like, you can never get a simple, consistent, good amount of volume because there's always someone who's doing 10, 15, 100 times more than you're doing. So yeah, for me, it just made more sense. Like, how can I just get everything out in the quickest way that I possibly could? Because yeah, making loads of songs wasn't really a thing that I wanted to do. I wasn't like, I need to make 1 million songs, and the more songs that I have, the quicker I'll grow, or the better I'll feel. It was more about like the content of what was in the songs and how I was feeling and how I got my emotions out and across. So for me, it's like, even if I'm rapping fast, I'm still getting it out. Do you know what I mean? So And if I just did loads of songs, I feel like my messages would just get lost in translation.
Yeah.
So
I think a good place to start, even from what you were saying just now, LNDP, Love Never Dies Peacefully. How did that song come about based on how you talking about how you build out your song?
So I think that was like the second ever song I actually wrote.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, the acronym the acronym that it is now is not what it originally was.
Okay.
We just it was just sitting in the studio for so long on the hard drive that by the time we actually thought, okay, cool, let's get this out, we'd forgotten what it meant. We were just like, love. And I was in the studio with Veli and he was like, yeah, it was do you know, I don't actually know. Like, yeah, so literally, so yeah, we were honestly completely lost and we actually re-recorded it completely, like another 2 times, because obviously we recorded it so long ago.
Yeah.
That like it just
didn't feel right.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. I was a much better artist at that point. I sounded much better. My spacing was much better. My breathing was much better. Veli was a 10 times better engineer now at this point. Do you know what I mean? So let's re-record it and make it a bit of a better song. Before we had no drums on it at all. It was just piano the whole way through.
Oh, okay.
So we switched it up. But yeah, so basically that stemmed from, I was in, I think it was like an 8 or 9-ish month relationship.
Okay.
Which started like, basically around the time of my accident, to be honest. We'd met like just before, like a couple of weeks before the accident, pretty much. And yeah, that relationship was very, very difficult for me because it was during lockdown, it was in COVID. So naturally we were spending like all of our time together because it was really, well, anything else you could do. Plus I was in recovery. So she basically kind of became my main carer.
Okay.
Other than my mum, who was really just video calling me because she didn't live with me at the time.
Okay.
And spending that much time with someone, like someone being in your space that much, it could be quite dangerous. It can become very codependent. And yeah, it was difficult, to say the least, because there was just so many situations that shouldn't have happened in the way that they did, like could have easily been avoided. And like a lot of the stuff that I touch on in the song, it's the simple stuff like social media. Like when I started my music page, it was all of a sudden like an issue that was trying to do something with my life. But also I understand that because before I didn't want to do anything with my life because I was in such a bad place. I was just stuck. And because I was stuck for so long, she got used to the fact that that's who I was. That's the person I was. And and because, like I said, it was a brand new relationship. So that's all she really knew of me. So that was like the person that she knew me to be. So when I started, I guess, kind of getting my confidence back and trying to learn and regrow, and I started writing, and the Katie Piper Foundation helped me out, it was almost for her like, who's this man? This isn't my boyfriend. Yeah. And I never really realized that at the time until I started writing this song. And I was like, wow, like, it's not my fault and it's not her fault, obviously. But like, was there something more that I could have done? Do you know what I mean? Could I have eased her into it? Like, I'm obviously a completely different person from who I was prior to the accident. And then obviously during my recovery as well. So it's impossible for me to try and explain because I didn't even know who I was going to become as a person. And I think that's probably the hardest pill to swallow, if anything.
I think regret is a really hard emotion to really reckon with. And people run away from it a lot. You either run away from regret or you overdwell on regret. You either kind of say, okay, cool, everything, you think of everything in your life that you could have done differently and you kind of sit in that forever and then you stop being able to do anything. Or you have no sense of regret or remorse and you never reflect on any mistake you've ever made, and then you continue making them forever.
I think there's almost no middle ground. Like I think you can definitely take accountability, and that's more on the dwelling side, if anything.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that we always have like epiphanies or flashbacks to a moment in time in our life when we see something that reminds us of it, and it will always give us that thought like, oh, maybe I could have done this slightly differently. Do you know what I mean? I think that I'd say the majority of people are in the overdwelling stage.
Yeah.
But I also think that helps you grow as a person, being able to look back at what's happened in your life and look at where you are now and